I had the blast yesterday.
Oh, fantastic.
So the first question for you as a director, when you read the book, you saw the potential. So what did you see in this book?
Well, I done very well telling stories about my community in Britain with Bend It Like Beckham, and so for me, I saw this as a film that was like that, but different. And I'm also a huge Bruce Springsteen fan myself, so I thought this was a wonderful way of telling that story, the immigrant story, the diaspora story, a story of dreams, but through the words and music of Bruce Springsteen, who's 3,000 miles away on the other side of the Atlantic. No one would expect those two things together, and that's what I like.
You are known for finding a new talent.
Yes.
And this time again, you and all the other cast. So
Yes.
what's the trick?
The trick is instinct, I think. It's when someone comes in the room, I can see them and feel their heart. I think that's what I look for, I'd like to see if they're acting in front of me or if they're truthful in front of me. So what I do is I surprise them. I get them to do things that they're not expecting and ask them questions they're not expecting, just to see what's inside their heart.
I really enjoy the musical sequences, and especially for the foreigner like me, it helped me to understand the lyrics.
Right.
So could you talk about the idea of the featuring all the lyrics? And
Yes, well, the most important thing was that it was important that the audience understood why each lyric was important to Javid and his story. Otherwise, you would never get the connection. And often Bruce mumbles a bit, and so by putting the words and the lyrics on screen, it, allowed us to make that link. They became part of the visuals, really. You understood why that lyric related to Javid, a 16-year-old Pakistani in Luton, even though the American guy in New Jersey had written that song about his own life, you were able to graphically make the connection between the two.
you were born in, I think, late 90s?
97, yeah.
Okay, so how did you find the culture and the fashion in the 80s, and how did you prepare for the role?
It was all so new to me, but I was lucky because growing up with my parents are Indian and they grew up in the 70s to the 80s, around all of that time when we was going through a political crisis, and I could relate to it to that extent, but the music element I just couldn't at first. It took me a while to kind of understand what it was about Bruce's words and what it was about his music that spoke such high volumes to people. It took a lot, I watched his documentaries, I listened to a lot of his music, and it was kind of like a wake-up call to how timeless his music is and how it's travelled through 30 years and is still relevant today.
When you were making this film, did you know this would be the huge crowd pleaser?
Well, when I was making the film, I felt very good about the film, and I was trying to make a film that would be universally appealing. But when you set out to make a film and what happens at the other end, you never know. The first time I saw the film was at the Sundance Film Festival with members of the public, and that I was very pleased that they liked the film. I was shocked at how much they liked the film. And even now, wherever I go, whether it's Ireland or Scotland or here in America, it's just wonderful to see so much warmth and passion from people who've seen the film, because it's relatable on so many different levels. There's the music side, but also at its heart, it's about a father and a son. And in many ways, Bruce never got the validation from his father that he wanted. His father never sat him down and said, "Well done, I'm proud of you, son." And and that hurts, in all of Bruce's music, and that's a painful side for him. And in our film, you have that too. And so I think that the father-son story is very touching, and what I've been really surprised with is how many men come out of the film crying. So yeah, I wasn't expecting that, and so it's good to see that.
and I had tears in my eyes.
Oh,
So-
very nice. You know, one of our co-writers, the script was written by Safraz Manzoor and myself, and Paul Mayar de Burgess. And Paul is part Japanese. And so, you know, I think culturally, you know, we like those stories that might be about the Indian community, but it could also be about the Japanese community. It could be about the Chinese community. It could be about any diaspora. And I think that you know, that's what's so exciting for me as a director today.
And thank you very much for your time.